And not working with the link you have me.
Hammer? Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I should start telling everybody.
Hello. Thanks. For your entertainment as you settle in, we're going to just hum a little bit of the melody we're going to sing later, hymn 219.
Testing. Good evening and welcome. I'm Zan Lombardo.
Mio Moriucci.
And Laura Melly.
We are your clerks. Let's put this down. I can't reach that high. We are your clerks for the 2014 FGC Gathering. This year's Gathering Committee is under the care of Friends from Philadelphia Yearly Meeting, and we are thrilled to be welcoming you.
FGC is more than just a gathering. This gathering could not happen without the work of many, many volunteers. So right now, I would like to ask everyone who served on this year's Gathering Committee to stand and be recognized. Thank you. Now we'd like to recognize all the friends who have served on FGC programs other than the gathering during the last 5 years. Would you please stand to be recognized? That would include Central Committee and FGC staff. Those friends that just stood, many of them are wearing buttons that says, "Ask me about my work with FGC." Engage them in conversation. You'll be really wonderfully surprised at all the wonderful things that FGC does. I'd also like to recognize volunteers that are working at this gathering, and that would include people who have been helping in any capacity, from lend a hand, carrying trays, to helping with registration, to helping with housing. So anyone who's been a volunteer, would you just stand right now, please?
Oh, wow.
Friends General Conference is really an association of yearly meetings, a few monthly meetings who are affiliated, and other associations. FGC is you. It's really made up of people. We are expecting about 1,240 as our total registration this gathering. They range from a newborn to about 98 years old. So we are us. But let us truly see, at least tonight, who's here at this plenary and get a sense of where they've come from. We'll be doing this as a roll call of yearly meetings. When I call out your name, your yearly meeting, please stand in place. Alphabetically, we start with Alaska Friends Conference. Are there any friends tonight from Alaska Friends Conference? Please stand. Baltimore, yearly meeting. Britain, yearly meeting. Anybody from Britain who's tonight? If not, Canada, Canadian yearly meeting. East Africa, yearly meeting, North. Illinois, yearly meeting of friends. Indiana, yearly meeting. Intermountain, yearly meeting. Iowa, yearly meeting conservative. Ireland yearly meeting. Lake Erie yearly meeting. New Association of Friends, which is our youngest. Anybody here tonight yet from them? New England yearly meeting. New York yearly meeting. North Carolina yearly meeting conservative. North Pacific yearly meeting. Ohio Valley yearly meeting. Pacific yearly meeting. Hey. Philadelphia yearly meeting. Piedmont Friends Fellowship. South Central yearly meeting. Southeastern yearly meeting. Southern Appalachian yearly meeting and association. Western yearly meeting. Wilmington yearly meeting. Oh, I'm so sorry, Northern yearly meeting. I knew it. They were paying attention and I wasn't. Those are 26 different yearly meetings and associations, some of which obviously have not yet arrived, may be coming at different points during the week. And yet there are other key people in the room who may fall into the independent, unknown, none to be named category, because there are some amongst us who fall in that category of Quakers. Are there some here that would like to stand for that? None, unknown, unaffiliated. And there are some who are not even Quakers. They come from other religions and faiths, and they're here too as partners and friends and just fellow travelers. Australia, yes! Woo! The Kingsleys! And truly, have I overseen anybody else, overlooked anybody else? Lovely. Thanks for coming all, and what a crowd.
Now, there's a special group in this group, and you have blue dots. The first-time attenders, please stand up so we can see you and welcome you. The first-time attenders this year are close to 20%. So let's make them feel welcome so next year they aren't first-time attenders anymore. Okay. So we're going to wait. It's up.
I was told I should raise it. I guess they were right. My name is Wade Wright. I'm from Philadelphia Yearly Meeting, and I'm the friend in residence this year. One of my jobs is to hold the clerks, all the volunteers, all the workshop leaders, and the entire gathering in the light and in prayer, which I have been doing for the last year. And it's been a joy. And I'm here to introduce something, I've got to slow down because of the echo, something that we're going to invite you all to do throughout the week that might be a little different. Well, maybe not. It reminds me of Bill Tabor. One of the things we're going to refer to is our ancestors, remembering them. And Philadelphia Yearly Meeting ancestors are dear to us. So Bill said one thing we should do is take opportunities for worship and opportunities for spiritual nurture. We're going to invite you to do that. And we have two reasons to ask you to do this. One is it will build and strengthen our community, this experiment that we're proposing, by enabling us to interact with some new or some familiar friends at the soul level. And secondly, it will allow us to practice the Quaker art of spiritual nurture. And this is our invitation to you. One of our other Philadelphia Yearly Meeting ancestors, Rufus Jones, said once, "If one may judge by the writers of early Quaker journals, it becomes evident that these pillar friends rated spiritual nurture very near the top of Quaker spiritual values." I'm going to read that again. If one may judge by the writers of early Quaker journals, it becomes evident that these pillar friends rated spiritual nurture very near the top of Quaker spiritual virtues. The core of spiritual nurture is what Doug Steer called holy listening. You all have heard this quote. To listen another's soul into life, into a condition of disclosure and discovery, may be the most important thing, greatest service that any human being ever performs for another. So what we're going to do is allow you to practice this tonight if you wish to. And if you don't, I suggest just sit in silence and listen to what goes on around you. And then we're going to ask, I'll tell you about how we're going to ask it. It will go on into the week. Willing to try this tonight? Well, I'm seeing some head nods. Good. Thank you. We're going to give a query for you to talk and listen to one other person for a minute. It's not a long time, but it will be a taste. And what I'd like you to do now is find somebody near you that you either know or don't know, it's your choice, and ask them if they would be your partner for this listening and sharing right now. Just, you can stand up and move around if you have to. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds. Okay, you got it? We're on a tight schedule here. But we're not rushed. Okay, I assume you've introduced yourselves. If you haven't, do it real quick. Say hi, and give your name. One of you will speak first, and the other will listen. I'm inviting you to just listen with your presence, with your heart, and with your whole self. Welcome your partner's soul to emerge. Create a space of safety in your listening. Parker Palmer, also from our yearly meeting, his advice suggests a simple rule that governs this listening. No fixing, no saving, no advising, no setting each other straight. Simply be present with caring. Accompany one another to the feet of the teacher. Okay, so the query that I'm going to ask you to share on, and you can take a moment if you need to reflect on it before you share, is tell your partner a story of a time in your life when you were transformed by the love you experienced. Tell your partner a story of a time in your life when you were transformed by love that you experienced, gave or received or shared? When was love the first motion in your life? What happened with whom? I'm hoping nobody has any questions. Okay, so sit for a second with your partner, and then one of you go first. I will tell you when to start, and we'll give you a minute to tell that story. Okay, the first minute starting. Please try to finish your story fairly quickly now. And now settle back into a little reflective silence while the second person thinks about the same query. And I'm going to read it again. Tell your partner a story of a time in your life when you were transformed by love that you experienced, gave or received or shared. When was love the first motion in your life? What happened with whom? Take a minute to think, and then I'll tell you when to start talking. Okay, you may start. Try to finish your story in a few minutes, a few seconds. On your chairs, one out of 4 chairs had one of these little heart pins on it, and you may have seen them. What I invite the people who found those pins to do is, if they choose to put one on, and what that will mean is that you are open to having anyone in the gathering come up to you and say, tell me a story of when love transformed your life. And our hope is that we learn how this has worked in our lives in a more intentional way. I mean, it's kind of a hard one to think about for me, and I assume we'll come up with deeper and better and more interesting stories as the week goes on. What we're asking people to do when you sit down and have an opportunity, as away from the crowd as you want, or in line when you're waiting for lunch, or however you want to do it, that you take this opportunity in a soulful, spiritual way and get to know people with some fun and meet some new faces and some new friends at the soul level. When you tell your story, give your pen to them, and then if they want it, or keep it, or find another one. I don't know, or get a piece of paper that says pen if you want to do it a lot. However you want to do it, play with it, have some fun with it. We're hoping these pens travel a lot and get a lot of sharing and stuff. One other thing I wanted to say, and we invite you to notice what you see emerging in all of your stories that you hear and tell. Are there themes? What's the breadth of our experience with love? What are you learning? What have you learned? Blessings.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good evening. My name is Claudia Aldred, and I have 3 minutes to tell you about John Woolman and introduce this song we're going to invite all of you to sing with us. Now, the words are going to appear on the screens behind me, so don't worry about song sheets. You can just watch them, so you don't have to look too much at us. Ta-da! So this is my 3 minutes. Here we go. John Woolman was not and would not have considered himself to be a saint, not according to his journal. He was really a pretty normal kid. He spoke back to his mother. He rebelled as a teenager. And as a young adult, he preferred to go out and carouse and party with his friends. Pretty normal guy. But he had an extraordinary life. So how did that happen? He saw as a child the connection between all living things, and he understood and knew at some level that that connection was made of and powered by love. Yes, he took responsibility for doing what he felt he had to do after he killed a mother bird and took down the nestlings and ended their lives too, so that they would not slowly starve to death. He felt that was the most loving thing to do. But his decision came from his knowledge of being raised on a farm, and also from his internal guidance, his inward voice. There really was no voice that came down from the sky and told him he needed to do this. He also gave himself the time that he needed to keep his connection to his guidance strong. His leading on slavery took 14 years to come to fruition, from his first feeling the concern to his finally writing the essay and getting Philadelphia Yearly Meeting completely on his side. It was a long journey. And he was aware of his love for the native people of this land for many years before he actually went out to Wyalusing and sat with the tribe that was fleeing from the conflict that was happening in the East. He sat with them in worship for 4 days, ministering to them in English, even though their chief, Papa Nahung, did not understand English. And this is where the quote, this is what Papa Nahung said. He said, "I love to feel where the words come from," because he didn't understand English. So that's where that quote comes from. So John was a normal man who did extraordinary things through his attention to his inner guidance and his perseverance to follow his leadings with the energy of love. And this gives me hope for all of us. So I hope you sing with us. We're going to start up now and celebrate John and celebrate the connection of love and letting the motion of love move us into music. Thank you. John Woolman was a man most cleverly. He lived a simple life that set him free. But most of all, he knew the place to start. Listened with his heart. And love was the first motion. That's what woman had to say. Yes, love was the first motion to send us on his way. He failed a mother bird when he was young, and then he heard a voice, "What have you done?" Her babies mustn't starve, so kill them too. And that was hard to do. But love was the first motion. That's what woman had to say. Yes, love was the first motion to send him on his way. He looked at all the slaves and said, "That can't be. We're all a part of God, they must be free." He visited with Quakers one by one until the job was done. And love was the first motion. That's what woman had to say. Yes, love was the first motion to send him on his way. Now strangers can become the best of friends. Just take a cue from woman and the Indians. The love is their interpreter, they had begun to feel where words come from. Let love be the first motion. Yes, that's what we're here to say. Let love be the first motion to send you on your way. And love be the first motion. Yes, that's what we're here to say. Yes, love be the first motion to send us on our way.
Now, we all have an opportunity to settle into worship. Because this space is so very large, if you feel called to give vocal ministry, we ask that you stand and wait for one of the ushers to bring you a microphone so that everyone can hear what you have to share. We will worship for roughly 45 minutes, and those of us up front will end worship in the normal Quaker way by shaking hands. Thank you.
I want you all to know how very important it is for me to be able to be with you tonight, to know that there are this many people, and I hope thousands of more, who believe in telling the truth, believe in love, and believe that peace is the way. Because I find the world quite discouraging at this time, and I don't like to feel like that. So I'm going to keep the back of your heads that I see from here in my view for a long time. Thank you for being here.
When love is the first motion, unity is the second.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. 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 We begin in the name of the one who is all mercy and compassion. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
David Hartsoe, a California friend and one of the founders of Nonviolent Peace Force, told us of a time he was at one of the first sit-ins during the civil rights movement in the South. He was pulled to the floor by an angry white man who pushed a knife against his throat. He had seconds to think, and he said, "Friend, you can kill me if you must, but that won't prevent me from loving you." The man backed off in shock and surprise.
When love is the first motion, we wait for the truth and do not rush to judgment.
I love you, Lord. I don't have the strength to always have love as my first motion. But you do. And I know how much I'm loved by you. I feel it, I see it, I hear it, I feel it. And if I'm with you, I will try. I will try to open my heart and to give love instead of anger, to give love instead of violence, to give love instead of indifference. But it's you. It's you that I love most. And it's you that gives me strength and tells me I'm good and carries me on. Oh my God, I love you so much. It is so simple and so real. I love you, Yahweh. I love you more than anything.
The intention to love is not love. We hurt each other every day with our intentions, even when they are loving ones. I've been learning that the important first act is that of connection. Only after connection can I see clearly what to do, how to love. And I think the notion of the first connection is love in motion, love being the first motion. It allows the intention to do its work. Without it, it doesn't.
Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Love, prepare me. Love, prepare to be a sanctuary, to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, pure and holy, tried and true, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary, sanctuary for you.
I had been thinking love was the first motion in the context of our giving love to one another. And that is truly a beautiful thing. But as I was sitting here tonight, I was suddenly filled with the memory of a time 32 years ago when my life had hit bottom. Everything had gone wrong. I was injured. I lost my job. I was in a state of hopelessness. And as I, in my despair, opened my heart and I turned myself over and said, I can't go on anymore. I was filled with a loving presence. It was totally and absolutely glorious and beautiful and blissful and just total love. And this is reminding me that while we indeed may make the first loving motion towards each other, the real source, the first motion, this first loving motion comes from that loving presence we call God, or at least many of us do.
I have a spiritual teacher who says that the purpose of life is to love God and to manifest that love in all that we do.
How do I become better at doing anything? How do I become better at letting love be the first motion? Practice, play, asking for help. So I can practice letting love be the first motion. And I might not always get it right. That's okay. I can play around with it. It doesn't always have to be serious. It can be fun and silly. And I can ask for help. From you, from Divine Spirit. Divine Spirit, I ask you to help me become really good at letting love be the first motion. And I ask you to help everybody here become really good at it. And I ask you to help everyone in the world become really, really good at it.
There is nothing, 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 only love, only love. There is nothing, 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 only love. There is nothing, 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 only love, only love. There is nothing, 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 only love. Remember, 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 remember. There is nothing, 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 only love, only love. There is nothing, 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 only love. There is nothing, 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 only love, only love. There is nothing, 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 only love. Remember, 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 remember. There is nothing, 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 only love, only love. There is nothing, 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 only love.
I have been uplifted by love. I have been carried by love. And there is more to love than just that. I have been searched by love, and I pray that all of us will be both carried and searched by love this week.
Thank you for coming. Have a wonderful gathering. There is an opportunity tonight for newcomers if they wish an orientation. I believe they're gathering up here in the front. There will also be an opportunity for newcomers for an orientation tomorrow afternoon. So this is not obligatory, just an option of a couple of times. Good night, friends.